Добрый день. Сегодня я вам расскажу о наших новых устройствах с 60 ГГц. Maybe I will speak in English. It will be better. Okay. I can try Russian, but I speak. Okay. Before we start talking about 60 GHz devices, we should remember some basic things about 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz frequency range equipment. When it goes about the 2.4 GHz range devices, the spectrum is very crowded and it's very hard to make a reliable point-to-multipoint or point-to-point link, because the interference makes it very difficult. And of course, the spectrum is the regulatory domain spectrum is only 70 megahertz, no, a bit more, and you don't have many channels which you can use for transmitting data. Those were the minuses, but of course there are also some advantages, like 2.4 GHz penetrates very good through walls, and if you don't have a direct line of sight, you still can manage a link. Maybe if you have, when there are leaves and trees crossing your line of sight, you can still run the link. And in some occasions, the distances could go farther than 5 GHz. When it goes to 5 GHz frequency range, there are DFS, DFS scanning, because there are meteorological radars, military radars, which can affect your wireless equipment performance. And the advantages would be, of course, you can use wider channels than for 2.4 GHz. You can, with AC 802.11, you can use channels up to 80 MHz, and now the new AC Wave 2 supports channels up to 160 MHz. And of course, there are much more channels available. When it goes about the 60 GHz, the 60 GHz isn't used for communication, because 95% of the transmitted energy gets absorbed by oxygen. And that is why in past it was not used for communication, because it was very ineffective. But today we have made a very great product which can perform very good, even taking into account the great absorption. And the main advantages are the spectrum is relatively free. There are not many devices that run in 60 GHz. And of course, if the 60 GHz frequency gets absorbed by oxygen, it won't affect nearby links, won't affect your equipment as much as it goes for, as it goes for 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. Here we can see a graph. In the middle, there is 60 gigahertz frequency attenuation, decibel over kilometers. You can see at the beginning there are 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies, and in the middle it's 60 gigahertz. You can, the difference is pretty obvious. We have created kit wireless wire, which is already pre-configured 60 gigahertz plug and play radio link. It basically means you take it out of the box. I will later show you, and you can run a full duplex gigabit link. The device is equipped with powerful ARM 4-core CPU running at 760 megahertz, and the device is equipped with 256 megabytes of RAM. The peak power consumption is only 5 watts, and currently the range goes up to 200 meters and even more. Also, great advantages are the beamforming. The beamforming works like if in any case the device change directions, maybe you are using the link in some moving structures. The beamforming will adjust a different path, and it will get the connection back very quickly. And also, there is a point-to-multipoint support. You can add up to 8 CPU client devices. The channel width the channel width for 60 gigahertz is 2.60 gigahertz. It's pretty wide. It's like the whole 2.4 and 5 gigahertz spectrum and more. The total radiated power is under 40 dBm, and the antenna, the WAP 60G antenna consists of 32 antenna elements, and the antenna elements sweeps between 64 antenna patterns to get the best signal and the highest data throughput. Wireless coverage is close, the angle is close to 180 degrees. It goes on both planes, vertical and horizontal. And price for this kit is below $200. It's only $198 for a kit. If you are building, perhaps you are building point-to-multipoint network, you can buy each device separately. You can buy, or you are building perhaps point-to-point network, perhaps connecting two buildings, or you need a connection for exhibition hall. You can buy 2 WAP 60G CPE devices, which comes with license level 3, which is similar as it goes for our 2.4 and 5 gigahertz links, you can you define AP as bridge and client device as station. And the cost for Web 60G with license level 3 is under $100, and it's only $99. As I mentioned before, if you are building a point-to-multipoint network, you will need an WAP 60G AP with at least license level 4. It will the hardware is the same as it is used in the wireless wire kit. The access point device, as I mentioned before, supports 8 clients, and the price is $129. Also, we have a very great device for outdoor point-to-point links. It's called LHG60G kit for distances up to 1,500 meters and even more. The device is already certified, and it's compliant with ETSI N302.217 point-to-point regulation. It basically means you can use it already. The antenna gain is more than 30 dBi, and the total emitted radiated power is below 55 dBm. And a kit with license level 3 comes for a price below $300, $298 for a kit. It's 2 devices. There are several wireless modes. We made it very similar as it goes for our current at 2.4 and 5 gigahertz equipment to make it more easy understandable. There are 4 modes: AP bridge for point-to-multipoint setup, bridge mode if you create a point-to-point and it will be the AP, station bridge for client device, and a sniff. With the sniff feature, you can scan the spectrum and see nearby 60 gigahertz equipment. And the configuration is very easy. You need to specify 3 parameters: SSID, password, and set the mode, AP or client. Here are some comparison with other MikroTik devices. We made tests with RB800 and R11 card, where you can see with 2.4 dual chain card, you can get maximum 252 megabytes per second. And for 5 gigahertz equipped with R11 5 card, we got almost 600 or 517 megabytes per second. And with 60 gigahertz, we got 2 gigabits per second full duplex. As you can see, with 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, the 570 megabytes per second, that is the combined speed. It means with 60 gigahertz, you can get gigabit speed on both directions. You can download and upload simultaneously with 1 gigabyte per second. And the price performance is incredible. I think you all know how much does it cost a point-to-point FDD equipment, and this is a very great solution, and price performance rate is excellent. Here we can see performance in 1,500 meters. The speed is in both directions. TX it's 952 and RX it's 951. We made some performance comparison to a wired network. Here you can see that the device a little bit falls behind if you use lower frame size, like if you use 64 kilobyte packet size, we can get only 67% compared to a wire, and if you run at least 256 byte packets, the performance will be identical. Here you can see the diagram. As I told you before, you can see that the performance equals at 256 bytes. Recently, we added point-to-multipoint support. Experimental support already was available starting from 6.41 Rotorus version. It requires level 4 license for the AP device, and connected clients are treated as individual interfaces. It is very easy to configure and manage the devices. The device supports 8 simultaneously connected clients. Here you can see point-to-point, multi-point performance with when the CPI devices are located with angle up to 124 degrees, and the speed was still 450 megabytes full duplex. We would separate the devices even more, but we ran out of the space. We couldn't reach wider angle. Here you can see the point-to-multipoint performance up to 400 megabytes per second simultaneously to each client. And also you can run WAP60G and L60G together. It means you can connect WAP60G as perhaps as a client, and the LHG will be bridge. All the devices are mutually compatible, and it is very easy to deploy the equipment and easy to monitor it. And it is the fastest point-to-multipoint solution at this price range. Here you can see comparison between WAP60G and LHG60 with signal levels and the total throughput. When the signal level drops below 72 dBm. It's a distance of 900 meters. The performance drops drastically, but we can see we can get very good results up to 850 meters if we use WAP 60G and LHG combined. There are some new features. As I mentioned before, we revised master and slave interface modes to more familiar. Bridge, AP bridge, and station bridge. Added put stations in bridge and isolate stations mode. This option is easy. It makes very easy to manage the client devices. Now it is possible to set MCS rates under 4. Before it wasn't possible. And SNMP support for monitoring was added in version 6.42 RC7. You can add the device in DUD and you can monitor it. We recalibrated antenna sectors, which lead to increasing the distance over to 200 meters for WAP 60G. Of course, router OS update is required, and we increased the maximum distance for wireless wire dish. Added received signal level monitoring, or also it's called signal strength values, so you can see how the device is performing in different weather conditions. Also takes power control was added. If you don't want to run, perhaps you are running the device indoors in relatively short distance, you can lower down the power. And we added a very precise distance measurement tool. You can measure distance from point A to point B very precisely. There was added new beamforming pattern information to make the alignment of LHG60 more easy. Also, there was added more improvements to make the beam forming more efficient. The throughput was improved when the link is fully utilized, and we added beamforming pattern information for the alignment. Also, recently there was added fourth channel with center frequency 64,800. But this is currently only for testing purposes. To make, if you had experience with wireless point-to-point links, you probably know how hard it is to align devices with very small beam, like everything, every frequency below 24 gigahertz, it gets pretty complicated to align the devices. That is why we added a new feature. You can align the devices following the LED lights. It will show in which direction you should move the device to get better performance. This feature will be more explained in our wiki page. Also, devices with less powerful CPU, it is recommended to test the device from external equipment. It means you should not run a bandwidth test on your wireless equipment. By example, if you test the link performance, don't run the bandwidth test on the AP or CPU. It will eat up the CPU resources. But it is possible, it is not recommended, but it is possible to do so on WAP60G or LHG60 because the devices have very powerful CPU. You can test the overall maximum throughput with several tools, which are, two of them are provided in RouterOS. One is bandwidth test. You can run it on RouterOS, PC, Mac or Linux, and you can run a traffic generator. Traffic generator, with traffic generator, it would be to get the maximum throughput over 60 gigahertz devices. It is recommended to use traffic generator because bandwidth test generates only one stream at a time, and it won't reach the maximum throughput which the device supports. Also, you can use other tools which are available in the internet, like iPerf and iPerf3 are very popular, and you can use speedtest.net or other available graphical interface speed measurement tools. How do you? Many of you are. I assume many of you are ISP providers. Maybe you know how fast can you make a 1 gigabit link? How much time does it take? Is it possible to do so to create a full duplex link in 5 minutes? Is it possible? Have you ever experienced that? Possible or not? No. Okay. I will show you how we can create a full duplex 1 gigabyte link in 5 minutes. Okay? So I will open up this. We have equipment stored in this beautiful box. I will open it up and install the equipment. I can take time in my phone to be more precise how much time it will take to build a link. Okay, I start. Don't worry, I'm still there. So it was a little bit above 3 minutes. I will check if the devices are up. Okay. The Ethernet patch is a bit damaged. Just a second. Okay, there are a little problems with my Ethernet adapter. It looks like it's dead. Okay, meanwhile, I can tell you a little bit more about the test setup. We create a packet template in the traffic generator. We specify IP destination, IP gateway, and the IP source address. It basically, we create a loop. One device transmits, sends the traffic and to the other device and sends it back. I'm sorry, it looks like my Ethernet adapter is dead. Rest in peace, little fella. Okay, I can show you the performance later at the registration stand if you would like. And I can show you the performance, how much is real throughput. The wireless is currently connected with the maximum signal strength, but I can't manage the device because of my Ethernet adapter. You have an Ethernet adapter? Oh, nice. Maybe we will see it. Just a second. Okay. It looks like. Yeah, the issue is with the cable. Okay, maybe you have some questions which you would like to ask. Yes, please? Okay. Do you have some questions? Da. Well, we can't compare the devices directly because those devices are working in different frequency range. Ubiquiti currently, Zyfiber is working on 24 gigahertz, yes? 5. Okay.
We have interest in for 1 gigabit or more speed for 10 kilometers or long distance.
Currently, the maximum distance is up to 1.5 kilometers, but who knows? Maybe currently we are adjusting and improving the antenna files, and I think we will definitely reach higher distances, and we constantly improve our products, and I am pretty sure there will be a 10 gigabit link for distances more than 10 kilometers with your required 1 gigabit full duplex possibilities.
In what future?
We currently are making improvements, but I can't. Currently, I can't give you any more specific information. Follow our newsfeed, and we will inform you about the progress.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more thing. Дуже дякую. Thank you very much. You can come up later to our registration stand. I will show you the performance if you are interested in. Thank you.